Okay, great. I believe we're actually live. All of this technology is still new to me, and I'm actually doing this. Whoops. Yeah, just a second. That was a pad that was following what we're doing. I did see that Kalim did type a yes in the chat of the live stream. And Kalim, if the audio is coming through, or if anybody else is actually hearing me speak, you would definitely do me a great favor if you could type in a yes on the audio, type in audio or yes audio. And I'm gonna actually type in just to make sure, is the audio... the audio is great. Good. Well, then I think we are definitely ready for this test. I'm gonna explain in a second what we're actually gonna do. What I will do now is I will go to a screen sharing, and with a little bit of luck, right now we should have switched to screen share, and that means right now I've just clicked onto the VIP team Facebook group, and Kalim, if you have access to the VIP team Facebook group, maybe type something in under the last post that I did, but I will also keep my eye on that YouTube live. Yeah, I'm gonna see if you, either place, I will see if you type in that you're actually seeing my screen, seeing the Facebook group, and if you do, you can go back to the YouTube. I mean, you can stay in the YouTube chat and just confirm, yes, I see that Facebook deal. Then I would say we're pretty much certain that the technology will work on our behalf. I'm flipping between the YouTube dashboard, the live broadcasting dashboard, and I just want to make sure that we're seeing, yeah, here in the I actually see, you probably are seeing the Facebook deal, or you're seeing my desktop, but I will wait for some confirmation. So Kalim did type something. Yes, it's working. Thank you, Kalim. You're a great, you're showing up all over the place. So yeah, our soon-to-be ambassador, top-level performer for VIP, Kalim Ahmad, and definitely once I get all this technology working, Kalim, I will invite you for a live interview, and I know we could do this over Skype or a variety of other ways, but anyways, that'll be an exciting approach. So earlier today I posted, I'm scrolling down here on Facebook, and I posted this diagram, and let's just take a quick look at this, because today we'll do a test live presentation, and this is already been recorded and consists of essentially 3 parts. There is a little bit of introduction here still before, then the first main part where we're gonna watch a video together of 2 or 3 minutes. Then we're gonna do the class teaching, approximately 20 minutes, and then afterwards we will watch again the same 2 to 3 minutes. What actually fits within these 2 to 3 minutes is 5 paragraphs. And we'll sort of keep that as a bit of a standard because it's so easy to get overloaded with the VIP team that we must precisely not do that. It is important that you absorb what you can and then you pick it back up when you're ready for the next load. And just blindly or without thought and understanding, listening over and over and over to the same recording isn't really the best approach. It is all about coming to understanding. And understanding is precisely being able to stand under it. Understand. To stand under it. That you can be the foundation what you're standing up for. And the only way you can do that is obviously if you have understanding, or as we depict it here, that you have that aha, got it, eureka, I understand. For me now it's clear. Well, naturally if we're exposed to new information, we're gonna have all sorts of I wonder about this and I wonder about that and I wonder about there. Or we may even have, I'm not really sure I understand it. Or I'm not really sure what the heck they're talking about here. All of this is all human. Well, what we're going to prove with our classes, and the name we've chosen for that is a turbo learning system, a VIP turbo learning system. Therefore, a VIP turbo learning class is that within less than 30 minutes, you're going to go from no or little understanding to quite extensive understanding. I think the understanding will astonish you, and I definitely will be looking forward to feedback from each one of you, and the more specific you can be, the better. It's nice, I appreciate the compliment if you say, hey, there was a great deal of that, but I appreciate even more if you're specific, that you say, I really like this, or there I had some difficulty. What I'm eager to hear is how well we'll be doing to take you in less than 30 minutes through this, the blue arrow. This is the part where we're going to dissect it. You're going to see that in a moment in the class, that I'm going to go back on what we just viewed, but we're going to go, what did he write here? What does he mean here? Obviously, we're talking about Charles Haanel, the author of the Master Key System. So, one last little dealie is keep in mind, I am not your teacher. And you may wonder, well, who the heck is going to be teaching it? Well, nobody. You are going to be teaching you. The Master Key System is all about you autodidacting yourself, auto-educating yourself. Auto is yourself. So, autodidact is somebody who learns by himself. That is what the Master Key System was made for. That's what it was sold for. Even at the price tag of $75,000, you were still on your own to learn it. And I believe that we can facilitate that learning, we can ease that learning, we can speed up that learning, we can deepen that learning through inspiring you and giving you a bunch of tools. But still, you got to do it. So you're the teacher. I'm not the teacher, so don't come to me for all hoping that somehow I can, sway a magic wand and I can make you understand the Master Key System. It will require your part. Now, one guarantee that I can make is if you are going to do your part, that means you're going to repetitively listen, and then you're going to get into the classes to understand. And you really, during the span that we're working on one chapter, that you're really working with that one chapter, if you do that kind of dedication, I guarantee you, you not only will get great results, you're going to get shocking results, amazing results, miraculous results. You will transform yourself to a level, to a power, to a capacity that you didn't even hold for possible before. And probably then the emotion will come up, why didn't anybody teach me this before? Or why didn't I discover this before? Or why didn't I take this serious before? Because I know a lot of you have been sitting on a copy, on copies of the Master Key System, either in text or in audio, or possibly in physical book, and you just haven't done it. Well, that's what this whole deal is about, is that this time you're going to do it, and this time you're going to learn to get it and to fully understand it. And then comes the most important part. Now, for everyone who is listening now live and everyone who will be viewing this afterwards, try to get this. That is my highest passion, is what you will do with it, or more importantly, how it will help you accomplish those things that you want. Those are the stories I'm going to be looking forward to. I know they're going to be there. I know they're going to be amazing stories, and sometimes they can be quiet within the family kind of stories, and sometimes they can be very outward business or show of artistic ability or entertainment ability or whatever it is. I mean, there isn't any vision, any action, any objective big enough, too big for you not to be able to tackle it. So the VIP team will not only assist you in making sure you have every one of the best tools available to learn this to a level that you will understand it. This is the deal here, deep understanding. But we're going to then guide you, and I'll explain that at a later time, how we're going to guide you to implement it into your daily life, so that we get to the level where you can say, hey, I did it this, here is where I was at before, and now look at what I've achieved. We're going to get amazing stories. These stories will be so much more important, will go so far beyond the numbers and the money and the this and the that, because sadly enough, if we run a program where people only make money, guess what? Shortly after they've made the money, they lose the money. Instead, we're going to make sure you have the wisdom along with the money. We're going to teach a lot about money. The Master Key System gets into that to a degree. We're going to also still expand upon that with additional classes about money, how to preserve money, how to compound money, and so on. So this is making sure that not only that you're going to be making money, but you're also going to be able to conserve it. Here is the reality. 1 in 10,000 people knows, as a matter of fact, I'm going to type this in Facebook. This is a little note that I'm going to make here. I'm scrolling back up. Yeah, there we go. 1 in 10,000. Whoops, I made 100,000. See what happens if you study abundance? It's only a zero different, is it? 1 in 10,000 knows how to make money or earn money. Of those, only 1 in 10,000 knows how to conserve money. In other words, whoops, thanks goodness for spell checkers. In other words, only 1 in, these are the regular numbers. If people don't address, if companies and programs don't address this, if you take 1 in 10,000 and of that group, only of that group, 1 in 10,000 knows how to conserve it, that means 1 in 1 million people, only 1 in 1 million people only knows how to preserve, conserve, protect, money. That's a shocker, isn't it? And VIP will make a difference in that. We're going to make sure you belong to that group of 1 in a million. Yeah, and those are all the reasons why we can comfortably charge fees of $1,000 per chapter for the Master Key System. You will find on this first chapter we're going to be teaching 10 classes at least. 10 classes at least. Okay, who is ready for the class? I'm going to... good, excellent sound and voice quality. So glad to hear this from, don't know who it is, but it says Financial Education Digital Content. Beautiful. Thank you for that feedback. I appreciate this. And that is indeed how we want to shine out to the world, is making sure that we represent ourselves not only like a TV station, but even better than most TV stations. So, okay, then let's start the class. And yeah, okay, that's the file. I'm gonna back her up. Thank you, Polo. Glad you like it. And we're gonna go to full page. Yeah, on my monitor I see that that is happening, and as soon as I see that the full page is up on the monitor, I will initiate the class. There we go. Okay, in this session we're going to address paragraph 1 through 5 of the Master Key System. And we're going to do this by first listening to a section of the video in the regular narrated way. We're then going to analyze it. We're going to dig in. We're going to study it. We're going to take it apart. We're going to try to understand what is he really saying. And then we're going to listen to it again. And you can then in yourself see if there is a difference between the first few minutes of the recording and then listening to the same few minutes of the recording of these 5 paragraphs, and see if you actually understand it better. So here we go. First we'll have a listen. That much gathers more is true on every plane of existence, and that loss leads to greater loss is equally true. Mind is creative, and conditions, environment, and all experiences in life are the result of our habitual or predominant mental attitude. The attitude of mind necessarily depends upon what we think. Therefore, the secret of all power, all achievement, and all possession depends upon our method of thinking. This is true because we must be before we can do. And we can do only to the extent which we are. And what we are depends upon what we think. We cannot express powers that we do not possess. And the only way by which we may secure possession of power is to become conscious of power. And we can never become conscious of power until we learn that all power is from within. So there we go. We have these 5 paragraphs, which is just over 2 minutes of reading or listening. And perhaps some part made sense, perhaps a few words made sense. Let's now go dig in and see what's actually in those 5 parts. We're going to start off with part number 1, the very first sentence actually of the master key system. He says that much gathers more is true on every plane of existence, and that loss leads to greater loss is equally true. Now, what is that? There is actually 4 parts. That much gathers more. He says that's true on every plane of existence. And then he says that loss leads to greater loss is equally true. 4 little parts. What is the first part? That much gathers more. Much gathers more. Much is a lot. Much is many. Automatically, he says, that attracts more of it, more of the same. Well, do we know someone in our life that is kind of like pretty much sick, and then they get more sick, and then they get more sick, and every time they seem to have another disease and another condition and another surgery and another medication? So, the more sick they are, the more sick they become. That is what he is saying as his very opening statement, that much gathers more. You may have heard the statement, if it rains, it pours. You know, so if it begins to rain and there is a lot of rain, well, expect a lot more rain. Another example of this is, I'm sure every one of you has heard the statement, the rich are getting richer. Now, what do we also hear on the other side? That the poor are getting poorer. Because poverty is loss of wealth, is loss of abundance, is scarcity. It will lead to greater loss. He says that's just as true. In other words, the negative is just as true as the positive. Health. If you have a lot of health, you can expect your health to get better and better. Because people that are healthy, they're driven to do exercises. They're driven to make sure they eat good food. They tend to be the people that think even better thoughts. So therefore, their health is becoming stronger and stronger. So he says it's true on every plane of existence. What does that mean? Well, existence is what we are, and every plane means every aspect of our existence, which is our mental plane of existence, is our physical plane, our body, mental, our thoughts, our emotional plane of existence. All of that is every plane, emotional, the feelings, the financial plane, our money. That much gathers more. In that case, in terms of money, that loss leads to greater loss is equally true. So, opening statement, very powerful statement. Actually, if you never ever learn anything else from the Master Key System, cling on to that one, because right there is already a major law in the universe, a major law in our lives, in our personal lives. The easiest to examine is that whatever is a lot is gonna get more, no matter on what aspect of your life we're talking about, and whatever is a little or not enough or scarce will lead to even less of it. Okay, moving on to paragraph number 2. Mind is creative, and conditions, environment, and all experiences in life are the result of our habitual and predominant mental attitude. Now, one of the things that you notice is as you watch the videos and the PowerPoints and all the tools that we have is that we color words, and we color words because we're accentuating the words that have importance. In this case, mind is creative. Mind is a word that you will see, probably it's the most frequent word or concept in the entire Master Key System. The mind being the place where our thinking happens, where our thoughts are contained. And there is different parts to the mind, which the course is going to get into. So, but mind is really the pivotal point, and you'll come to discover why it is the most important part of the Master Key system. He begins by saying it is creative. Creative meaning it is able to create. It is able to bring things into reality, into existence. That is what creation is all about. And here in this case, it's our mind. It's your mind. That is creative. Creative to do what? To actually create conditions, environment, and all experiences. Now, when Charles Haanel says all, or every, or always, he really means it in the absolute way. He means, in that case, that all conditions in your life, all environments of your life, all experiences in your life are the result of your creative mind. What are conditions? Conditions, well, you may be healthy or you may be sick. Environment, you may be in a poor environment, you may be in a rich environment. Experiences, you may have good experiences and bad experiences. Well, they're all the result of your creative mind. What part of the mind? Well, here he specifies it isn't just any thought, because today we know, I don't know who counted them or how they counted them, but supposedly we're thinking somewhere between 40,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. That's a heck of a lot of thoughts. As a matter of fact, if you've done already exercise 1 of chapter 1 and you've sat there, you've probably found that your mind is racing through this and this and that and there and there and there, and it's non-stop thinking. Well, it isn't all these thoughts that matter. It is the habitual thoughts and the predominant thoughts. What does that mean? Habitual, based on habit, based on what we know, based on what we're used to. That is what habitual is. Predominant is what dominates, what is actually at the top, which is dictating, which is ruling, taking dominion. So those thoughts that are in our mind, that are the most prevalent, the most defined, the most dominant, and the most frequent, the most regular, those are the ones that end up creating the conditions in our life, the environment in our life, the experiences in our life. And why is that? Because our mind is creative. Isn't it amazing how paragraph per paragraph it's as if we're reading a whole book? Well, actually, you're right, because it is said that the Master Key is written based on a distillation. Each chapter, each paragraph is a distillation of books. Actually, each paragraph is the distilled end result of 3 to 4 very significant books. Not your average, little fantasy story. No, really significant books. Charles Haanel has drawn the best out of the best resume out of those books and has instilled them paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. It's like sucking in a whole library of books, of the best books in the world. And that's why the mind gets overloaded at first when you read it. But our mind is creative, and the conditions, environments, and all experiences in our life are the result of our habitual or predominant mental attitude. So now we can move on to number 3, paragraph 3, the attitude of mind. The attitude of mind. What is attitude? Let's first read it. The attitude of mind necessarily depends upon what we think. Therefore, the secret of all power, all achievement, and all possession depends upon our method of thinking. The attitude of our mind. Attitude is the way it is, the character, the impression it leaves. All of that is the result of the attitude of the mind, the kind of the mind, the how the mind is. That's the attitude of the mind. What does that depend upon? Not only upon our thinking, upon what we're thinking. Attitude of our mind depends upon what we're thinking. Based on that, the secret, the key, the opening to what? We're opening up, abracadabra, three things. All power, again, that absolute, it's all power, not just some power, all power. All achievement, anything you will ever achieve in your life, all achievement, anything you will ever get in your life, possession, anything you'll ever own in your life. All power, all achievement, all possession, the secret key to it, the access to it, the opening to it is depending upon our method of thinking. Our method, how we are thinking. So, the attitude of mind necessarily depends on what we think, and therefore all power, all achievement, all possession, the secret to it depends on our method of thinking. Now we come to a bit of a weird paragraph, and it sort of created a pretzel in my brain when I read it and reread it and tried to understand it. I almost wanted to skip over it. Is this fourth one here that says, this is true because we must be before we can do, and we can do only to the extent that we are, and what we are depends upon what we think. And I'm like trying to catch up, what really is he saying? Well, there is three concepts in it. There is the thinking, there is the being or what we are, and there is what we can do. And it is actually in that order. It begins with the thinking. Whatever we think will define what we are. If we think healthy, we will be healthy. If we think rich, we will be rich. Become and eventually be rich. So, in order to be able to do something, in order to be able to do richness or healthiness or any other wish you have to first be it. And in order to be it, you have to think it. So, he kind of repeats the same thing between these two here. And he says it's true because we must be before we can do. Be before we can do. You have to be healthy before you can do healthy. And we can only do to the extent that we are. That's actually saying the same thing. We can only do healthy to the extent that we are healthy. And then he catches up to the origin of that. How can we be, or how can we are healthy? How can that be created? Is by thinking healthy. So, thinking healthy, you become healthy, you are healthy. Based on your health, you can do healthy. That's what that sort of weird paragraph means. This is true because we must be before we can do. We can do it only to the extent that we are it, and what we are depends upon what we think. Once again, the mind obviously being the dominant force, the controlling force. The final one of the 5 paragraphs. We cannot express powers that we do not possess. And the only way by which we may secure possession of power is to become conscious of power. And we can never become conscious of power until we learn that all power is from within. That's quite a mouthful, so let's chop it up. First part, if we want to be able to express powers. What is express powers? Well, it may be the power to do a particular talent, power to speak, the power to do business, the power to build relationships, the power to educate. Expressing it means giving expression to it, bringing it outward, sharing it. Expressing it is what is seen and experienced and perceived by others. That what was from your inside, you're bringing it out towards your outside. We cannot do that. We cannot, whatever powers we may have, we cannot express them until we have them, until we possess them. Possession is ownership, is dominion. So we have to own it before we can express it. That kind of makes logic, huh? We must have, if we want to do health powers, healing powers, for instance, we must have these healing powers. We cannot express them without owning them. And the only way, he says, that we can assure or secure possession of that power is actually to become conscious of that power. What's being conscious? Conscious is aware, is knowing it, is being one with it. Conscious, knowing, conscious, you know it together. Conscious awareness, alertness too. Conscious of power, that allows you to secure ownership of that power. When you do, automatically now when you own the power, you can express the power. And we can never become conscious, aware of that power until we learn, and here we go, this could be the other title of the Master Key System. It would be All Power is from Within. That right there could be the title of the Master Key System. All power, and again, the absolute. He's not saying a little bit of power or some of the power or once in a while power. No, he says all power, every kind of power, any time there is power, in any way there is power, it'll always come from within. Within meaning inside of you. In the rest, you will discover the opposite to that, and we've purposely put a little white dash in between there to contrast it with without. Without, normally in our regular today's English language, without is without it, without limitations, without expression. It is not there. What Charles Haanel means with without is on the outside, within on the inside. So, all power, he says, is not on the outside. It begins and it originates from the inside of us. All power is from within. Now, once we know that, then we can become conscious, we can become aware, alert, knowing of that power. Once we realize that all the power is inside, we can begin to become aware of it. Once we become aware of it, then we gain possession, ownership of it. And once we have ownership of it, then we get the capacity to express the power. Sometimes I tend to believe that with the Master Key System, you need to read it in reverse in order to really understand it. But that's what happens with words of wisdom that have incredible depth, have incredible concentration, that are the result of very profound deductive power. So, the last paragraph in repeat, we cannot express powers that we do not possess. And the only way by which we may secure possession of power is to become conscious of power. And we can never become conscious of power until we learn that all power is from within. Well, here we are. We've gone through 5 paragraphs. Now, you may remember from briefly ago what you sort of gathered from listening to the video that played the 5 paragraphs. Now let's listen to these 5 paragraphs again and see if they make any more sense. That much gathers more is true on every plane of existence, and that loss leads to greater loss is equally true. Mind is creative, and conditions, environment, and all experiences in life are the result of our habitual or predominant mental attitude. The attitude of mind necessarily depends upon what we think. Therefore, the secret of all power, all achievement, and all possession depends upon our method of thinking. This is true because we must be before we can do. And we can do only to the extent which we are. And what we are depends upon what we think. We cannot express powers that we do not possess. And the only way by which we may secure possession of power is to become conscious of power. And we can never become conscious of power until we learn that all power is from within. And there you go. Congratulations. You have gone through the first 5 paragraphs. Actually, a great listening, re-listening to these 5 would be a good idea. To do that over and over again. You may want to play it every morning, a couple times, 2 or 3 times, and you want to play it, replay it in the evening, right before going to sleep, another few times. One of the tools that we will make available is also going to permit you to listen to a paragraph, have a pause in between, quite possibly with some music, and then the next paragraph. And give you time to let it sink in and move on to the next paragraph. Once you're ready, once you fully understand these 5 paragraphs, then you're ready to come to the next step, paragraph 6 to 10 of chapter 1 of the Master Key System. Thank you for listening. And voila, you guys did it. We have done our first official live class. I hope that you have come to see. Okay, here is a testimonial or an experience from one of my close friends who has known the Master Key System for a long time, has had plenty opportunity to read it and read it again, plenty opportunity to listen to different audios that are out there. Tore from Norway. And I had asked him, would you be willing to rate yourself in the before video the 5 paragraphs, and then give me a rating from 1 to 10 in the second listening. And he shared that it was a surprising, bit of a shocking answer I got. He said, the first time I heard it in the class, I was guessing I was somewhere between a 3 and a 4 on a scale from 1 to 10 in terms of understanding, or what I thought I understood. He says, by the time you had done the sharing, the teaching, the class section, the 20 minutes, I listened the second time, and I am definitely, absolutely no higher than a 3. And I was like, huh? Okay, I helped him in the reverse. No. What Torah actually meant was, I am now convinced there is a lot more to this. I know there is more to be digging into. There is more depth to this than I ever even realized. Well, that's a tremendous, tremendous discovery. So I don't know what it will have been like for you as you've listened to this. Perhaps you have gained some more understanding. Perhaps you have just come to realize, oh my golly, there is a heck of a lot more to this, and I'm really going to have to take some time to dig into this. As Jordan indicated correctly, Jordan, that you said this is some deep stuff so far. My friend, this is so deep, you will never find anything deeper in knowledge on how to create things, how to construct things, how to achieve things. Not only will you come to go deep in understanding, but then you'll be able to, through that understanding, become very deep and efficient in application capacity, in being able to do it. The whole deal is being able to manifest accurately what it is that you specifically want, and to eventually become better and better and better at that, so you can tackle and attract and create greater and greater things, for you, your family, for your health, your wealth, and all the things that are dear and close to you. Well, my friends, I hope you've also experienced that in those 20 minutes or so, the actual class itself. I'm going to go back to it for 1 second because I want to know what the time, there it is, 26:26. How is that for a number? So it took about 3 minutes up front of the video, about 3 minutes repeat at the end of the video, a little bit of explanation, and then about 20 minutes in between. So we have done precisely what I posted earlier, the class teaching 20 minutes before the clip of the video, afterwards the clip of the video, and hopefully to some degree you've gone, like Torah went to an aha, there is more to it than just repeating, listening to it, listening to it, listening to it. I mean, the reality is, if you don't understand it, you keep repeating non-understanding. It is precisely what we did today, and whatever digging, studying that you do yourself to deeper understand it, that is what expands understanding, and then repeat is valuable. If it's just repeating it, it's almost like just saying a mantra. It will have some effect, but not the effect of coming to full understanding. So, want to thank you for the time you've put in tonight, and or afternoon or morning perhaps for some. And in the meantime, until we make the paragraph 6 to 10 available, continue to work with these 5 paragraphs. You can also continue to listen to the recordings that are on the Facebook. We're also asking for translations, and we have found a remarkable amount in German and Italian, French, etc. So continue to listen to the classes that are there. but stick with chapter 1 for right now. This truly is... Charles Haanel never used to send more than one chapter per week, and he wouldn't even send the second chapter. Now, this is people that paid $75,000 for the course, so he wouldn't send the second chapter until they had proven that they understood the previous one. So I'm going to leave you with some of these views of, this was here from my balcony last night, the sundown, and I'm going to let you enjoy those, and then I will switch off the microphone, I'll switch off the transmission, and then that will be it for today. I truly want to thank you for your willingness to transform yourself, your willingness to bring out that genius that is inside of you and to apply the wisdom into accomplishments for yourself and for other people in the world. Take a moment when there is a beautiful sundown to look at the painting of God or the painting of Mother Nature, the painting of the same intelligence by the author of this painting here and all the other ones is the same intelligence that is inside of you, the same intelligence that you have access to, the same intelligence that you can use to create things. So, thank you for letting me share this, and I wish you all well.